Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Live here, and
John from Nintendo Live here.
Hey, yes, and today we're going to be looking at the finest, what we consider to be the cream of the crop for games coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of January. And yes, this is a slightly different format because it's already January, we want to get it out, and we thought we might as well do it together. Why not? Change it up a bit. So yes, that's what we're doing, isn't it, John?
Yeah, we're just like Sonic Heroes. We're a team, we're going to see it through to the end.
If only Xeon were here. Xeon being Knuckles.
Yeah, he's definitely Knuckles.
He's definitely Knuckles. It's the hair. Anyway, so yeah, we've got some exciting games coming here. This is obviously not an exhaustive list. It never is. This is just what we believe to be the most exciting games coming in January, and no doubt some more will be announced after this video's gone live. That's just the way of it. But I think that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. Starting things off, we have Crumble, which, yes, came out on the 3rd of January, which is in the past, but it's still January, and we wanted to include it anyway. As you can probably tell from the footage, this is a physics-based 3D platformer, and my great goggly goodness, it just looks like so much fun. One of the most enjoyable things in a game for me is enjoyable movement, and that's not to say that a game with rubbish movement, like Resident Evil 8, for example, can't be fun as well, but I will be all over any game that has really, really fun movement and gives you a real sense of speed and fluidity and everything like that. It's kind of, like Breath of the Wild and, so many other games as well. Movement is just fun for me. And with all the momentum and the swinging mechanics and the sliding and the rolling, this really looks like it's going to be ticking an awful lot of those boxes, and that just excites me to no end. I love games like this, and this just looks like it's gonna be another one of those. How could I not be excited? Moving on to the 13th of January, we have Astroneer. Now, this is a game, again, this has been out for a while on other systems, but it's making the leap to Switch, and I can't deny, I'm a little bit concerned about performance based on the fact that it's kind of a sort of a sandbox style game, and you can change the environment to be whatever you want it to be, which is great, don't get me wrong. I love that kind of gameplay, but I am just a little bit concerned about performance on Switch. But if all runs well, this is a fantastic game and a brilliant addition to the Switch library. Again, it's a lot of freedom, just like Crumble, but in a very, very different way. It's much more creative, you're going to be building things, building machinery, as well as structuring the landscape to be whatever you want it to be, and I suppose maybe the more you build, the worse it'll run. But again, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I also believe there's a whole load of secrets in this game to uncover if you're that way inclined, which I am. So yeah, this one's on my radar.
On the 17th of January, we have Shadowman Remastered. This was a classic game for the PlayStation, Nintendo 64, PC, and Dreamcast. And while not every version was great, namely the PlayStation version, on N64 and Dreamcast, this is one of the best games on those platforms. Shadowman's like a gothic take on Tomb Raider with elements of Zelda mixed in. You'll make your way through these beautifully dark areas and get power-ups as you go on, and you can do things like climb waterfalls or submerge into lava and be absolutely fine. There's definitely some older elements to the game, and progression doesn't hold your hand. So if you're not used to 90s 3D level design, you may end up getting a bit lost at times. But that's part of the charm, discovering the path for yourself. Now, this remaster came out last year on PC, and it was done by Night Dive Studios. If you're familiar with that name, you probably have a good feeling in your heart because these guys do so many great projects. The Turok 1 and 2 remaster, Doom 64, they don't change the original vision, they just enhance it to modern standards. The textures and UI elements and the menus, they're all brand new, but they look basically how you remember the game looking. Which is to say, if you go back to the original, it's probably a lot more blurry than you remember. This keeps that fake memory alive. You can also play content that was cut from the original game in the remaster, and that's really, really cool. Your mileage may vary on how much you enjoy games from this era, but Shadowman Remastered shouldn't be missed by those who love this kind of game design. And on the 20th of January, we have Blackwind. This is a top-down hack and slash where teenagers get into mechs because of course they do. Now, Blackwind may not have been on your radar before, but this looks like a really high-quality hack and slash. There's explosions everywhere, pretty high graphical fidelity, and a bunch of robots that you can make go boom. It is also targeting PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and also PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so for how the Switch port's going to hold up, we don't quite know yet. It does look very ambitious. But if it does hold up on the small screen, this could be something rather special, especially because it's also a co-op game. One of you can be the battle frame, and the other one can be the drone. So it's not like there's two mechs on screen at once, but this could still be a really interesting way to play. You can also customize your mechs with different skills and skins. This just seems like one that can be a bit deeper than it initially appears to be.
On the very same 20th of January, we have Windjammers 2, which, if you've seen the original, which is, at this point, arse old, you will see an awful lot of the same DNA, which one would expect from a direct sequel. For those who haven't worked it out yet, this is basically kind of like a frisbee game. I mean, in a sort of more of a real sense from a game point of view, it's kind of like extreme air hockey, at least from the perspective and the way that you play, but it is so much more than that. It's fast, frenetic, high octane, it's a classic arcade-style game, and it's been in development for really quite a long time. I'm fairly certain this was announced back in 2018, and it's just been kind of silent for a long time. It was supposed to come out last year, and then it didn't, and now it's finally coming out. The graphics are great, the arcade-style gameplay really appeals to me. I just think this one is good all round.
And next, on the 27th of January, is Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X2. Take a breath. Inti Creates very, very rarely ever stumble. They've made Mega Man 9, Mega Man 10, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, Blaster Master 0. There was even a Mighty No. 9 Gunvolt game, and that was good. If someone can make Mighty No. 9 good, then you know you can trust them. We gave the original Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X an 8 out of 10 on Nintendo Life, and this one looks to up the ante even further. This isn't just another simple Mega Man-inspired game. The action is so over the top and outrageous. You can just tear straight through enemies, and that's even more true with the Overdrive mode, which puts you in this overpowered state where you can just shoot and slash and just completely destroy everything in your path. The art design and animations also look stunning, and the story is also surprisingly deep in these games. If you can get past saying the title out loud, this should be one to keep an eye on.
And finally, on the 28th of January, we have Pokémon Legends Arceus. We tried to do that simultaneously, which never works. But yes, on the 28th of January, the newest Pokémon game. John, what are your thoughts on it?
It looks so ambitious. I mean, we only had another Pokemon game 2 months ago, and we're suddenly diving into what looks like the evolution of the series. This is the first time Pokemon has really deviated from its structure since Red and Blue. Yeah,
I mean, we've had spin-offs and things like that, and I suppose you could argue that this is a spin-off, but they've never deviated that far. Like, Pokemon Colosseum had, like, the snag mechanics and shadow Pokemon, but it's not quite what we're seeing here. This really is kind of a different kind of game.
Yeah, and there's still so much we don't quite know, because even though they revealed this game a year ago, we haven't actually seen it that much. But there are a lot of elements I really like the look of. They recently showed off catching a Pokemon, and there's no menus. You just throw a Pokeball, and suddenly a little pop-up in the corner says, you caught the Pokemon. It just doesn't interrupt the flow. And it's just stuff like that. Like, when you have a random overworld encounter, or when you have an overworld encounter, it doesn't go to a battle screen. You just fight them in the world. It just looks like it's taking that seamless step forward that the main games aren't doing.
I'm really excited for it. I am also nervous because it's arguably so much of a departure and so quote-unquote ambitious. I know there are, games that have been way more ambitious than this, but within the context of Pokemon, this is extremely ambitious. And so that makes me a little bit concerned if maybe, like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl sold like fantastically, certainly in Japan, and I'm a little bit worried that this isn't going to sell as well, and the Pokemon Company are going to go, oh, well, maybe we should only ever do old games. No, we need difference. We need new blood, new ideas. And hopefully this is going to do it. This is going to do it. And I can't believe it's coming out so soon.
I know. I don't think it's going to sell as well, but I do think it's going to be received far better. And there's new stuff in here too, like the battle system is kind of new. You've got like a Final Fantasy X turn system. And you have like strong attacks and weak attacks that you can switch between. And it's definitely not trying to be a mainline game in the traditional sense. Like, there's no multiplayer, for instance. This is just a single-player focused adventure. And there's something quite appealing about that. Just a new taste of Pokemon after, what, 2 decades and a half?
Two decades and a half.
Is that the official terminology?
2.5 decades, I think.
There you go.
Is the term. But yeah, it's I'm simultaneously really excited and apprehensive. But we won't have to wait too much longer. 28th of January. That's only this month, which is why it's in this video.
That makes sense.
And there you have it. Those are the games that we believe to be the most exciting coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of January 2022. First of the year. But have we missed some games that you're really excited about? Do let us know what they are in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this admittedly slightly slimmer month than usual, but January's always a bit quiet. I still think there have been some good games, don't you, John?
Yeah, Windjammers 2, that's all you need.
Hell
Looks
yeah.
neat as heck. Yeah.
And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you force that subscribe button onto the treadmill to lose some of that Christmas weight, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.
Do you think the Direct's gonna come in like 2 days and make this entire list void?
I hope so. Whenever you're ready.
Hey everyone, it's Freddy from Nintendo Life here, and geez, am I ready to tell you about some games.